Alrighty, guys, it is 3:30. It is Thursday, January 8th. Time to wrap it up for today. Sorry I missed the last update. I was kind of stuck doing some work, working on that Coinbase integration, getting myself caught up in it. But anyway, so at this point, we are just kind of stuck in a range. We've been pretty freaking sloppy trading right now going into the afternoon. So this morning we had a little bit of action back and forth, but then we just got into this slop back and forth and back and forth. One little pop here in H period, back down to the mean, and we have been sitting around the mean right now. Now, going into tomorrow, we had a ton of news coming in, so I'm not sure if it's just a holding pattern. We didn't get any so far, at least, any selling going into the close. So I'll take that as a good sign. Looking at the news we have for tomorrow, we have the big thing. Obviously, is going to be employment situation at 8:30. We have housing starts permits. We have consumer sentiment at 10. And of course, we have potential Supreme Court action coming out as well. So it could be a pretty busy day, pretty crazy day tomorrow. We will see. But today, so far, the day has been range bound. We haven't really gotten that follow through to the downside I was concerned about. So I'll take that for now at least. And I just trimmed off a couple of equity positions just to since we are up against the highs, running into some resistance. You just kind of take a little bit of profit here and there. Anyway, I would say range bound trading is where we are. They're holding they're holding right at 65, 69, 60s. They were not able to get up above the 75. So I'm just starting off flat out range bound. They're going to sell strength against going to be like it's the 70, 75s here against the 80s, 90s up to the 7,000s for rotations down. We're going to buy weakness against the 69 40s, the 30s. I'll revisit this guy and these levels down here, but below the 6910, 6900, 6890s, these three levels, that's where it starts getting really gnarly. But right now, it's one of these things, you're in a holding pattern. And if you can't take this higher, chances are we may see a little bit of a pullback. That's usually what happens. Like you run out of gas, you stall. Someone's going to start covering, and it's going to potentially kick in a little bit of a sell-off. Now that sell-off doesn't necessarily need to be bad. It could be just like a small one, but it could also be a little bit bigger. So we had to wait and see. On the Nasdaq, we are same story there. We are right back to value. We traced pretty good, and they've been a little bit weaker on the Nasdaq, but as you can see, they have been absolutely they're done in this volume area. They're not going anywhere. The selling, I thought for a second that they were going to take this lower and in a big way, but so far not. So far they're holding the line, just kind of holding on to the gains, and I just have to wait and see what happens. So I would say range bound trading on the Nasdaq going into the overnight. I look to sell strength against that 25 700s against the 740s, 800s up to that 830s. Rotations down. I would look to buy weakness. I'm going to adjust this edge down here to the 600s, the 560s, 500s down to this level, the 460s for rotations back up again. So that's kind of the Nasdaq. So both the ES and Nasdaq just starting off flat out range bound. The bias to the upside is gone. I would say the bias to the downside is a little bit offset as well. We're not necessarily selling off right now. I thought that was a concern for this afternoon, but so far looks like they're buying it. So who knows? Maybe we'll get a little pop here going into the tomorrow's to the overnight. So and tomorrow's trading, anyone's guess. Potential Supreme Court action. We have employment situation come out. It could be a pretty crazy morning. So on the bond market, I haven't taken any bond trades today. Nothing has really set out the way I like it to. We had for a bit here. They looked like they were doing something, but you can see how tight this range is. I figured it's just not worth the effort to try to sit through this and get caught. I mean, it's just not moving enough. So I opted not to do any bond trading today, but super tight range. This is kind of borderline. Would not have filled these like 244 contracts traded at that level right now. That's just nothing. So that would not have filled even if you set with a working limit. This area here would have filled you probably at the tens, but I mean, if they took it lower, the retest wasn't quite the kind of setup I'm looking for. So it would have been an aggressive entry on my part if I wouldn't step in front of it. And the reason is really after the fact, it's easy to say it reversed, but you can make the case for a ton of these retest pairs looking exactly like that, but it just keeps going lower. So you'll find that out when you try to take him. You still take that trade and see it just keeps ticking lower. It's like, oh crap. It looked good at the time, but then no. So yeah, you just have to keep that in mind. And after the fact, looking at the chart, you can just do that you had to do that with a critical eye. Anyway, so no trades on the bonds for me today. Back to the ES and the Nasdaq. So no trades on an ES either. I did take 3 trades on Nasdaq, one shakeout, one small winner, and on a little bit bigger winner. But then I got up to 75. That was early on this morning. I was here at this area here. 2 short trade didn't work. A long trade on retracement. That's how I got a little bit of money back into the account, and then that's about it. Since then, you can see, yes, it went sideways after that, pretty much sloppy, not much going on. Let's see if we'll get a little bit of strength here going into the close, but we'll leave it there for now, guys. And I'll see you back at bright and early tomorrow morning. You guys have a good evening. Later, guys, later.